Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Igor Calzai. I'm the principal investigator at the University of Oxford for Replicate EU project. I'm the work package leader of work package 8 replication. Welcome. Pleased to have you on board today. Already in the last session of the City to City Learning program today, led by the follower city of Nilüfer in Turkey. Just a brief reminder as we are finishing the whole program. The program is the main replication activity of the EU Replicate project. Kicked off on the February the 5th by San Sebastian, the leader of the project, followed by Essen, Florence, Lausanne, and Bristol. Since the beginning of Replicate EU Lighthouse project back in 2016, we have been preparing this program in collaboration with the 3 lighthouse cities, alongside the 3 follower cities under unique related multi-stakeholder framework. So till this time, the Lighthouse project has been intensively focused on working on their implementation, on their pilots on energy, mobility, and ICT. And alongside these implementations, we've been carrying out the fieldwork research in the 3 fellow cities, first identifying the critical factors and then the composition of the stakeholders. So at the moment, as we can see from the findings and the results of this program, in which some cities are already collaborating, now it's time to start matching how a diverse set of urban implementations could be adapted and scale up by considering the composition of the stakeholders in each fellow cities. So as a result, we have already initiated the formulation of the replication plans in which each fellow city is going to be in charge of formulating their own replication plan. As you know, the hashtag City to City Learning program is designed as a way to disseminate the content. Preliminarily, the content is private, but after the session, immediately after, we always make accessible the whole session. So please, when you are going to participate, I can see that there are already some people on the audience, people from San Sebastian, from Florence, I can see even from Bristol, from Technomar as well. So please introduce yourself and your organization. So let's start introducing, introducing Nilüfer, because it's maybe not that well-known case. So first of all, we need to say, I think something that was striking, at least from the University of Oxford, we start doing the research with Nilüfer, is the one of the 17 districts of Bursa province. Bursa, as we can see on the map on the screen, is a key geographical location, providing logistics connection for major cities like Ankara, Istanbul, and also in the south, Izmir. There are 3 main universities offering world-class education, and therefore it has been established as the main residential development area of Bursa to meet housing needs of the growing city, as well as industrial and commercial structures. But the point is that maybe I'm going to highlight 2 main aspects. The first of all is that Nilüfer comes first among the district of Bursa in terms of the economic contribution, while providing employment opportunities to, and this is for me the key feature, is 80% of the Bursa population via organized industrial zones in its border. And as we can see in this graph, there are some percentages, but I would like to provide a much specific and recent data. And as we can see, the population increase, the population growth, the boom, has been remarkable in the last years. And complementing the data that is provided in this graph, I can say in a nutshell that in the last 5 years, the demographic increase has been the 35%, despite As we can see that the increase in the past has been 13 or even has been almost 6%. But therefore, I think that Bursa is viewed as one of the fast-growing middleweight cities, which are thought will account for more than 60% of global GDP growth over the next 15 years. So it's why, and we are going to start already introducing the slots, we are going to observe in the 3 slots that the demographic boom has created the need and the conditions to consider the importance of the 3 slots that we're going to present. The first one is the empowering city. This context without the neighborhoods committees and the citizens councils. So that is going to be the first presentation. Related to this, I think that Nilüfer is focused on the creating a bottom-up energy movement, such as energy cooperatives. This is going to be the second slot. Finally, we are going to listen to the project called Industrial Spin-off Ecologies, mainly referring to the establishing network of industry based on the Industry 4.0 approach. So please, I would like to welcome Ezra from Nilüfer and the rest of the speakers. And please, the floor is yours. Let's go with the first presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Igor. And now I want to introduce you Ms. Elvan Atay. She's the General Secretary of Nilüfer City Council.
Herkese merhaba Nilüfer'den.
Hello everybody from Nilüfer.
Öncelikle İngilizcem için özür diliyorum ve benim sözümü size bıraktıracak olan Umut arkadaşa şimdiden çok teşekkür ediyorum.
First of all, I would like to apologize that I couldn't communicate in English, and I would like to thank my friend who will translate for me.
Rio de Janeiro zirvesinden sonra 1996'da Türkiye yerel gündem 21 uygulamalarıyla tanıştı.
Turkey met Local Agenda 21 after 1996, after Rio de Janeiro conference.
Biz Nilüfer olarak 2002 yılında yerel gündemi oluşturduk.
In Nilüfer, we established Local Agenda in 2002.
Bu sırada Türkiye'deki belediye sayısı 3225'ti.
In that time, there were 3,225 municipalities in Turkey.
Sonra yerel gündem 21 süreci tamamlandı ve Türkiye kent konseyleriyle tanıştı. Bir kanun çıktı.
So now I have to explain that in Turkey, in Europe you call city councils as municipal parliaments. But in Turkey, city councils are after the Local Agenda 21. We call municipal parliament as municipal parliament, and our city councils are actually from Local Agenda. So in 2006, there has been another law which converted Local Agenda 21 to city councils.
Daha sonra 2006 bu kanundan sonra biz hemen oluşmadık ve bu sırada da 2100 adet belediyeye sahipti Türkiye.
In that times, there were 2,100 municipalities in the country, and after 2006, there has been some other regulations about the law.
Daha sonra bu kent konseyleri kanununda talep ettiğimiz değişiklikler yapıldıktan sonra yani 2009'da biz kent konseyi olarak oluşturduk kendimizi ve o anda da yani halen devam eden sayı 1397 belediye sayımız.
So now after 2009 we have after the regulations changed we established our city councils in 2009 and now there are 1,397 municipalities in Turkey as city councils.
Belediyelerdeki bu azalmaya rağmen bizim şu anda kentlileşme oranımız %77.
Despite the decreasing of number of municipalities, we have an urbanization rate as 77%.
Bu rakamları neden verdim? Çünkü büyük bir merkezileşme yaşıyoruz. Ama kentleşme oranımız da çok yüksek olduğu için kentlerdeki yönetimi yeniden yorumlamak, yeniden örgütlemek, yeni biçimler ortaya koymak durumundaydık.
So I'm giving all these numbers to you to make you understand how the country is actually centralizing. So that's why we needed to have new ways, new approach to create a more democratic government in the country, in the city, where we can create citizens' participation.
Nilüfer Kent Konseyi Genel Kurulu, sendikalar, akademik odalar, muhtarlar, STK'lar, üniversiteler, kamu kurum ve kuruluşlarının belli orandaki temsilcileri, siyasi partiler, barolar, bizim meclis ve çalışma grubu temsilcilerimizden oluşur.
So in the city councils of Nilüfer, the General Assembly is formed of academic chambers, the leaders of small communities, NGOs, universities, public organizations, and political parties, and our working group representatives, and also from our neighborhood committees.
Fakat burada örgütlü insanlar genelde bizim temsiliyetimizi sağlıyorlardı. Biz buna bir önlem olarak, yani vatandaşın doğrudan karar süreçlerine katılımını sağlamak için mahalle komitelerinden de temsilci almaya başladık. Bunun için önce mahalle komitelerini oluşturduk.
So we wanted to create an organism like neighborhood committees, because as you can see, mostly there were a representative of different organizations, NGOs or public organizations or universities. So we also wanted direct participation of citizens in our parliament, in our General Assembly. So we created our neighborhood committees, and we took representatives from each neighborhood in our General Assembly.
Nilüfer Kent Konseyi olarak sürdürülebilir bir yaşamın peşindeyiz.
So we are working for a sustainable living.
Çevresel, sosyal ve ekonomik sürdürülebilirliği sağlayamazsak eğer bir geleceğimiz olmayacağına inanıyoruz.
So we think there is no future if we cannot create sustainability of environment, social and economical.
Hepinizin bildiği gibi sürdürülebilirlik kriterleri arasında, yani atık yönetimi, enerji yönetimi, sosyal adalet, güvenlik, hava kirliliği, iklim değişikliği gibi vatandaş katılımı da eklenmiştir artık. Bunun peşindeyiz.
As you know, the criteria of sustainability, just like waste management, social justice, security, environmental protection, climate change, and also citizen participation is also very important aspect of sustainability criteria.
Nilüfer Kent Konseyi, Nilüfer Mahalle Komiteleri ve Nilüfer Belediyesi ile hiyerarşik olmayan düz bir zeminde iki yapıya da aynı şekilde yakınlıkta çalışmalarını yürütür.
So our city councils is working in collaboration with the municipality and also neighborhood committees, but there is no hierarchy on it.
5 meclisimiz ve 8 çalışma grubumuz var.
So we have actually what we call it under the city councils, what we call it like assemblies, like women assembly, youth assembly, children, environmental and adults assembly, and also we have 8 working groups in different topics.
Bizi diğer kent konseylerinden ayıran en önemli özelliğimiz hiyerarşik yapıda belli pozisyonları kadınlara ve gençlere açmamız, pozitif ayrımcılık uygulamamız.
So one of the most important difference of us from other city councils is we are giving a positive discrimination for women,
gençlere,
and for youth.
Nilüfer Kent Konseyi Yürütme Kurulu'nda kadınların ve gençlerin aldıkları kararlar tartışılmadan kabul edilir.
In our assembly, if women and youth making any decisions, we cannot say any word on it, and it is directly approved.
Nilüfer Belediyesi'nin çocuklarla, gençlerle ve kadınlarla ilgili projelerinde, kararlarında mutlaka bizim meclislerimiz devreye girer önce.
So if there is any projects about women or youth or children in the municipality, first of all, they have to ask us and our working groups or our assemblies has to make the decisions.
Bu projelerde kamu yararı var mı? Bir de genç, kadın ya da çocuk hangisi ise onların bakış açısı var mı? Bununla ilgili bir olur verirler öncelikle belediyeye.
So first, they must approve if there is a perspective of women, youth, or children in this project, or if it is really effective according to social issues.
Tüm bu yapıların haricinde bir de ilk başta söylediğimiz gibi aslında biz yetinmedik bütün bu temsiliyetlerden ve vatandaşı doğrudan nasıl yönetime katarızın yolunu aradık ve mahalle komiteleriyle bir örgütlenmeye gittik.
So besides of all of this work, we wanted more participative democracy in our city. So we also wanted each citizen can enter, can have an access to decision-making mechanisms. That's why we wanted to create neighborhood committees.
2009 yılında kurulan komitelerde bir doğal üyelerimiz, bir de seçilmiş üyelerimiz var.
So there are natural members of neighborhood committees and also there are elected members of neighborhood committees.
Doğal üyelerimiz muhtarlar, muhtarlık azaları, okul aile birliği temsilcisi, okul öğrenci temsilcisi, aile sağlığı vesaire.
So natural members are like the leader of the community and the representatives from the school, parents, from students, and also health unit representatives and NGOs from the neighborhood.
Seçilmiş üyelerimizi de 2009'dan itibaren değişik şekillerde seçiyoruz. Bu tabloda vardı 1200'de 1 oranında seçtik nüfus oranla. Sonra 600'de 1 oranında. Şimdi 300'de 1 oranında. 300'de 1 de bizim sandık sayımız aslında. Seçmen sandık sayımız. Böylelikle sokak temsiliyetlerini de sağlıyoruz. Çünkü sokakta bir sandıkta bir kişi çıkıyor. Seçilmiş üyelerimizi öyle belirliyoruz.
So our elected members are after the elections. Actually, in each neighborhood, there are elections made. Kaç yılda bir seçim var?
2+3 toplam yani bizim kent konseylerinin başkanlarının seçilmesi, yürütme kurullarının seçilmesi gibi. Önce 2 yıllığına, sonra 3 yıllığına.
The representatives are elected first for 2 years and after that for 3 years. So there are really elections in every neighborhood. People are voting for candidates and these people are elected to represent the street, represent the neighborhood, represent every part of the city actually.
Ayda bir, en az ayda bir toplanıp mahalleleriyle ilgili kararlar alıyorlar, konuşuyorlar.
And they come together at least once a month. It can be more according to their needs, but at least once a month they come together and make decisions for their neighborhoods, for their cities.
Kotalarımız var. 3'te 1 kadın, 3'te 1 genç, 5'te 1 engelli ve 5'te 1 LGBT kotamız.
So, and one of the most important part is there are quotas in these committees. Like there are quotas for women, for youth, for people with disabilities, and for LGBTI people communities.
Bunun haricinde de meclislerimizden de bir örnek vermek istiyorum. Katılımcılığı nasıl işletiyorlar diye. Çocuk meclisimizin yürüttüğü bir projeden bahsedeceğim. Oyun engel tanımaz projesi.
So we can also give a sample to you about one of our assemblies. Our children assembly had a project called Games Have No Boundaries.
Nilüfer Kent Konseyi yürütücülüğünde Nilüfer Belediyesi, İlçe Eğitim Müdürlüğü, Bursa Teknik Üniversitesi, İstanbul Teknik Üniversitesi, Uludağ Üniversitesi, Mimarlar Odası, Peyzaj Mimarları Odası ve Çek özel 3 Mart Azizoğlu İlköğretim İşbirliği'yle geliştirdiğimiz bir projeydi. Çok yoğun katılımlı hem akademik odalardan hem okullardan, üniversitelerden bir de tabii ki en önemlisi çocuklardan oluşan 30 kadar çocuk bu projeyi yürüttü. 15 engelli, 15 engelsiz çocuk.
So actually there was a big participation in this project. The project was, there was a huge partnership. The city council was coordinator, and also the Nilüfer municipality, the director of education, 3 universities, and Chamber of Architectures, Chamber of Architecture of Landscape, and some schools were in this project. and it was a best practice about democracy and participation. And there were, of course, the most important participants of the project was children. There were 15 children with disabilities and 15 children without disabilities in this project.
Çocuklar 2 yıl boyunca çeşitli eğitimler aldılar. Genel olarak yapılı çevre eğitimleri.
So these children took education for 2 years. This education was mostly about city designing and landscape.
Bu eğitimlerden sonra bir proje yarattılar, bir park projesi. Oyun aletlerini de tamamen kendileri tasarladılar.
So then, after all this education, they created a park together. They created a children park all together, and they designed all the toys in the park.
Daha sonra jüriye çıktılar. Jürinin önerileri doğrultusunda projelerinde değişiklik yaptılar ve bu projeyi belediyeye sunarak bir yer talep ettiler.
Then they have presented this project and to the municipality, and they demanded a place from the municipality to create this children's park in the city.
Belediye yeri verdiğinde yeri görmeye gittiler ve baktılar ki çok büyümüş ağaç var.
So the municipality gave them a place, and then they all together went to see the place, and they've seen that there are lots of big trees over there.
Tekrar güncellediler buna göre, revize ettiler projelerini.
So according to this information, they revised, they think again about these projects, and they revised their project.
Bir de bu parkın içerisinde kendi çalışmalarını yürütecekleri bir salon talep ettiler. Onu da çizdikten sonra belediye bu parkı uygulamaya koydu. Şu anda da büyüdü çocuklar, fakat gidip parkın takipçisiler, nerede ne kırılmış, ne yapmış, sürekli bize geri bildirimde bulunuyorlar.
So they also wanted a center in this park to gather, come together time to time, and the park has, but all the projects, everything is made by children all together, which is also accessible for children with disabilities, and they worked all together. They created their parks, and their park is now still there. And these children are becoming youngsters, but they're still taking care of their park. If there is anything broken, they just fix it, or they're taking care of what they have done.
Oluşturduğumuz bu Nilüfer'deki katılımcılık modeliyle iki sonuca ulaştık. Daha doğrusu iki sonuç için çalışıyoruz diyebiliriz.
So as a result, we are actually working for 2 different results in this process.
Birincisi, halkın karar süreçlerine doğrudan katılımını sağlıyoruz.
First of all, we want direct participation of citizens in decision-making mechanisms.
İkincisi de kamusal alanların inşasında ve korunmasında vatandaşı söz sahibi ediyoruz.
And as a second, we want to give word to citizens to protect public areas and to build public areas.
Bu kadar.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elvan, Asai, and Umut for translation. I think that it worked out really well. We have followed the importance of how Nilüfer has organized the grassroots empowerment through neighborhood committees. I have just a couple of questions, and then I would like to open the floor for questions or even comments, discussion. And the first one is, I think it's clear how sophisticated has been the representative democracy in Nilüfer through participatory, through a very dense participatory architecture. So I think that how diversity and some vulnerable groups has been included in the plan, in the participatory plan, I think is quite remarkable. We can see, in order to compare, I think that we are seeing in the city-to-city learning program, cities like Lausanne, for example, they have a very entirely different approach to direct democracy, organizing a referendum. So I think every place is organizing according to their political culture and the democratic situation. So I think it has been interesting. And my question is, the second point is much more a question. I think it's quite advanced, but because all the participation has been organized, let's say face-to-face or presentially, And you know, in the smart city discourse and in other cities, some other initiatives are thinking, and they are almost implementing hardware. I mean, I'm talking about apps and technology. So have you start thinking how this kind of neighborhood committees could be, let's say, enriched or could be reinforced through technology, through any kind of application, or maybe it's very in a very early stages, this question?
Okay, let me translate. Öncelikle şeyden bahsetti. Bu katılımcılık modelinin ve bu işte insanların direkt katılımının ve dezavantajlı gruplarla çalışmaların ne kadar güzel işlediğinden bahsetti. Ardından da şöyle bir soru sordu. Peki şu anda akıllı şehircilikte yeni aplikasyonlar, telefon uygulamaları kullanılmaya başladı. Bizim çalışmamız genellikle yüz yüze. Peki böyle bir teknoloji işin içine katma konusunda herhangi bir düşünceniz var mı? Bununla ilgili herhangi bir çalışma yapıldı mı?
Tam da şimdi onu yapmaya çalışacağız. Seçimleri elektronik ortamda yapmak istiyoruz. Bununla ilgili bir aplikasyon yazmak istiyoruz. Fakat çok yeni başındayız.
So we actually have ideas about it. For example, we want to make all these elections with mobile applications, and that would be really easier for us. But we are just beginning of this work. It is we are developing the idea at the moment.
Yeah, I would just suggest something, and then I mean, thank you for your question. This is the main purpose, you know. Apart from presenting, I think we can co-produce or co-create what you are doing, you know. But for example, San Sebastian presented in Florence their platform, and I think is very related to what we are talking about. They are developing the participatory, the citizens' participation approach in the city, and also we cannot even forget Bristol, who is very intensive in this kind of implementation. So I would suggest just keep an eye, not only but also Bristol and San Sebastian in this sense. I would like to open the floor for any question on the audience.
Bundan yararlanmanızı öneriyorum diyor. Aynı zamanda bu sunumlarda oradaki çalışmaların.
Any question in the audience?
I have, yes. This is Marta from Enter San Sebastian. I have one question regarding which have been the main barriers or difficulties in organizing these kind of committees, or if there have not been any problems, or how they have been solved.
Thank you, Marta.
Yüzleştiniz, nasıl problemler yaşadınız bu noktada?
Öncelikle ilk tepkiyi muhtarlarımızdan aldık. Muhtarları biliyorlar mı?
So in Turkey there is a system like each village and the neighborhood has a community leader. We call them muhtar. So the first reaction was coming from them actually.
İkinci karşılaştığımız sorun belediyenin sahip olduğu partinin örgütlenmesi zannettiler.
And also this was like and understood as like structure of political party, but it wasn't. So we had to tell this to all people.
Tüm bu iki önyargı da çok güçlüydü ve yaklaşık 5 yıl kadar uğraşmak zorunda kaldık. Bu arada iyi örnekleri çoğaltmaya çalışarak böyle olmadığına inandırdık diğer mahalleleri.
These prejudices were very strong actually. We worked for 5 years to overcome this prejudice, but we worked so hard and we made lots of activities which include all citizens, and after that we could make them believe that we are not a structure of a political party. We are working for all citizens.
Interesting.
Okay, thank you for the translation. Any other question? I think that I understood really well the question made by Marta, because you know, in San Sebastian at the moment they are implementing the participatory approach, but they have been working quite hard in the last 3-4 years, I would say, from the early beginning of replicate. And the situation in each city is different, you know, and that's why I think that we cannot replicate context as we have seen from the early beginning of this project. Any other comment or question about this interesting slots of participation on grassroots empowerment?
Just a comment. We
So could you introduce yourself?
Yes, sorry.
Kiera, okay.
Yeah, from Space Consulting. We are supporting Florence, and we are in charge of the rollout plans in the 3 lighthouse cities. Just a comment, we went through different direct approaches in Florence, from meetings in squares to stakeholders involvement in working groups, through apps and so on. What I suggest, since smart cities topics are quite difficult to understand and very innovative, what was very important for us is the system thinking approach we developed together with the other 2 cities, and the modeling of the problem, just to visualize the thing and discuss easily with groups and people. So this was a very, very good experience for us.
Yes. Yeah, it was a really important contribution regarding the subsystem thinking approach developing the pilot city, so it could be taken as a suggestion. Thank you, Kiera. Any other comment on this slot? So let's move on to the second slot of the session, that is on bottom-up energy efficiency, and particularly the importance of using the state-of-the-art technology, as well as the behavioral change for the end users. And I guess that Umut is going to introduce the concept of the energy cooperative. So please, the floor is yours.
So me again, as Igor said, thank you very much. So this time I'm making the presentation. So actually I will be talking about energy cooperative too, but I will start with the innovation center actually. Yes, well, I will start with the innovation center because these all applications are implementations of our innovation center. So Nilüfer Innovation Center is actually, again, about participation. So we wanted to create something innovative, and we wanted citizen participation on this. So that's why Nilüfer Innovation Center is established, to create innovative ideas from citizens. So as you see, neighborhood committees were like more about decision-making mechanisms of the city, and also it was more about what to be in the neighborhood, how to design neighborhood, or how to work in coordination with the what we call municipal parliament. But what about innovation? We wanted our citizens to give us ideas how we can make better municipal services. That is why we focused on social innovation, and also after that there has been another need about social enterprises. So we had different implementations like energy cooperatives, grey water treatment facility, compost facility, and social entrepreneurship center. Now I will give you more information about all of this. So by the way, this is how we work in Innovation Center. There is a need, an opportunity comes together, and there comes the idea from citizens. We turn these ideas to projects, and we try to create a value. So if you live in Nilüfer, if you have an idea, or if you want something to make different, you can just call us or send an email or write from our website. We call you back in 8 hours. I mean, that's the limit of performance in our municipality. We have to go back in 8 hours. So we invite the citizen to our innovation center. We take our tea, coffee, and we start to talk about the idea. And then we gather more information and see if this is really innovative and applicable in our city. We have some criteria to decide. Then if it is really innovative, then we start to work with the citizen. The idea belongs to citizen, the project belongs to citizen, and the municipality is supporting this project. This is how we launch the project. And of course, we create networks to work more efficiently. We have individual corporations, we have corporate corporations. So almost everybody in the city is our stakeholder, from citizens to designers, from universities to NGOs, from public institutions, and we also have lots of international partners on international projects. So about Energy Cooperative. Well, actually, Energy Cooperative is really a good idea, and we see as one of the most successful on this is Germany, because they have a real political support from the government, and they also have strong economic incentives. But in Turkey, this is quite new, and our city became one of the earliest adopters of this idea. And in our local atmosphere, we have a suitable political support, and the citizens are also interested in this idea, and they're also supporting that. So we wanted to make it, we wanted to create this energy cooperative, but first, of course, we worked with our own personnel. So we met with our personnel, and we really made lots of workshops about it. And in 2016, with participation of our municipal personnel, we created the Energy Cooperative. So then, from this date, we started to make lots of activities to create more awareness on the society, and the feedbacks were really good from society. But again, there must be an awareness in whole the city to make this Energy Cooperative really work. So we applied for some fundings to create this awareness, and there has been some bureaucratic problems, so we couldn't got this funding to make bigger activities to promote Energy Cooperative and promote the idea. But meanwhile, so we have faced lots of barriers, lots of lack of support from legislation, actually. So in Turkey, we are still facing to expand this energy cooperative because of actually governmental policies. So now we have an energy cooperative, but we are still on the process. It is not expanded as we want it to be, and we still face some challenge. So we are still on the process. But this experience really showed us it is really important, and political determination is really important, and legislatively friendly framework is also very important to achieve this kind of implementations, to create this kind of implementations in the city. And in our innovation center, I just told you how it works. And there are citizens coming to us, so there are lots of projects gathered in the innovation center. So sometimes we are using our own budget, but sometimes municipal budget is not enough to create that much implementations. So we are searching for different fundings. We use European Union fundings or fundings of some ministries in Turkey, or different like fundings from some embassies. But in grey water treatment facility, our citizen came to us with a funding from German government, and he said there is a funding of the government and we can create a grey water treatment facility. He made a presentation in the municipality. He shared the idea with us. Then we took him to the mayor, and again we talked about the idea, and we decided to make it next to the municipality. As you can see from the photos, it is newly established, and it started to work like a month ago. And now the grey water from the municipality is getting cleaned, and the system gives the water back to reuse in municipal building. Another idea was about composting. Actually, we have received lots of ideas about creating a compost system in the city. There were many citizens coming and asking for making a compost, little compost places in neighborhoods, in cities, in apartments. And then we said, okay, maybe we should create something bigger. And we created a project which will collect all the organic waste from bazaars, from restaurants and malls, and take it together, and with a machine, with a facility to create fertilizers, which can be used by local farmers and municipal green areas. So we got funded by the Ministry of Industry and Technology in Turkey. They have development agencies in all cities. So we got the funding from there. And as you can see in the photos, now we have a facility, compost facility, and we got the first fertilizers in last September. So it is working at the moment. And last but not least, our Social Entrepreneurship Center. Actually, as I just said, there were lots of ideas coming, and some ideas were actually real good social enterprises, but of course, it was not easy to support all these ideas as with municipal budgets. So with social ideas, we just thought that maybe we can educate people about social entrepreneurship and about how to create a social enterprise. And then we have made a research, and there has been a study for feasibility about the social entrepreneurship center in the city. And we have seen it's a real need, because in our city, there are some institutions, there are technology transfer offices, which are held by university, but they are only supporting technical enterprises or like technology, or they are just supporting people who wants to be entrepreneurs. But about social entrepreneurship, there was a lack, and there was some missing in the city. So we decided to create a social entrepreneurship center, and we applied again to the Ministry of Industry and Technology, to the development agency, and we got funded actually. So that was a very new funding. We just signed the agreement, and our project will start in upcoming months. So how will it work? I will just briefly explain it. So we have a center, we have a place, we will design it, as you can see in the photo on the right. So we are planning a design like that, but there will be different places. There will be places where people can get education trainings about social enterprises and how to create an enterprise. And also there will be another area where you can use 3D printers or different tools to prototype your idea. There will be shared offices, and there will be a place where people can come together and share their ideas, just like a cafe, let's say. And there will be also places where we will bring these people with ideas, with angel investors. So we have lots of stakeholders of this project, and I'm sure that this social enterprises will also support really energy efficiency and combating the negative effects of climate change. So we are expecting a good positive effect with this social entrepreneurship center.
Okay, thank you very much, Umut, for your interesting presentation. Do
you have any questions?
Yeah, I have just one comment, and then I'm going to open the floor for others to formulate the question. And for me, from the early beginning, and because maybe I did underline the fact of the energy cooperatives, I was even reflecting upon the relationship with, because you presented at the beginning the motivation and the source of the energy cooperative was established in 2016 with a political determination, with a strong political determination. And then, as far as I have understood, you have said that the beginning, the members or the founders of the cooperatives, they were municipal personnel. Yes. My question is, and then you develop that about the difficulties to sustain the business model of a cooperative, and then it was related this with the final part of your presentation, that maybe the Social Entrepreneurship Center could just, let's say, support or even help assist these projects to flourish. And it's why, I mean, could you just, my question is, could you just tell me how, I mean, once again, let's talk about difficulties as well, not just about the successes, but also difficulties. How has been the most difficult thing to sustain the energy cooperative from the business model perspective?
Well, actually, the problem was, as you said, there was a huge political determination in the beginning, but this political determination was in local level. So the municipality, the city, the administration of the municipality has a determination, and they still have, actually, they really want this to happen, and they really expand this energy cooperative. But the problem is, to create an energy cooperative in a city, you must really create a great awareness on citizens, and you must find ways to motivate them to be a member of the energy cooperative. That's why we need to make lots of activities, lots of like, we have to inform people about why there should be an energy cooperative, how it is beneficial to them, how it will be beneficial to their current situation and their children's and grandchildren's life in the future. So we have to tell this very good to people. And also that's why we needed not only local, but also national determination. And we also need a real support from the national government, because the laws are really blocking so many ways. In Turkey, when you want to create a wind turbine, you have different challenge. When you convert it to like sun panels, there are different blocks, there are different barriers. So always there are blocks coming from the national government. So that made the hardest, that made this work really hard. And we also got funded by to create the awareness just for that, but it is also cancelled due to different issues. So we wanted this to happen so much. We still do want to expand it really, but you know, you got lots of blocks, but that's not an excuse. And I'm sure we will find a way to make it better. But again, the national support from the national government is really important in this issue, you know, because the laws are limiting you so much. So you must stop the barriers. Yeah.
I guess that you are creating an alternative ecosystem that I think is very in line with the pentahelix model that we follow in Replicate, and maybe it's very different from the general mainstream approach of the national government. So it's why you might find some difficulties to develop that. But anyway, as you said, as you rightly said, there is no excuses. And I think that you are in a really interesting starting point. Essen is working as well, so you can follow up what Essen is doing in energy cooperatives. And so,
I want to add one more comment.
Okay, please.
I was talking to my friend from San Sebastian in Florence. So he was telling me about how to expand. We were talking about how to expand this energy cooperative. And in there we discussed that personal motivation is also very important to expand this kind of application. So people need to know how it will be beneficial to their current situation, how it will be beneficial to their pockets today. You know, they have an electricity bill, and with energy cooperative, this bill will decrease. So if we can really inform these people, because that's a really strong motivation, you know, maybe it is not a big effect compared to environmental effects, of course, but sometimes this kind of things can really be a big motivation for people, for citizens. So that's why we must really use every aspect of the topic to create this awareness.
Okay, thank you. I think you're absolutely right saying that. Any question, any comments on the audience?
Yes, Igor, this is Baha talking. I was a little late in coming into the conversation, and I'm in a public place now, so please let me know if there's too much surrounding noise.
It's fine so far. It's fine so far.
It's fine so far. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, I'm in Essen, and looking at the different types of energy sector organizations. And one thing that I would like to point out is that cooperatives is, of course, a very important way of democratizing the energy architecture, the supply and the demand architecture. But what we've seen in Germany is they have actually gone beyond cooperatives and are forming energy communities. This does include cooperatives in them, But it also, of course, includes, for example, utility companies that belong to the municipality, and also even private companies and private citizens. So I think it may be interesting to start looking around for business models and organization models that go beyond cooperatives, because then you're stuck with the legislative framework that the national cooperative law gives you. And this is very limiting, as Umut just mentioned. Of course, no country's experience is repeatable. They have completely different economic, legislative, financial, cultural conditions. But this may be one way of maybe putting one more stone on the cooperative energy cooperatives business in the Turkish state of affairs.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Baha. You are showing how relevant is city-to-city learning program, because at the moment even two follower cities are learning from each other. I think that you're absolutely right saying that even cooperativism could be evolved further. You mentioned energy communities, and to add some other references, in the case of San Sebastian, despite this not exactly in the town of in the city of San Sebastian, there is a energy cooperative that is called Goyener, that is I think is worth following up. And also in Catalonia and Barcelona, there is some Energia that is very, very successful. So I mean, in addition to the case of Essen and the case of Germany, in Spain, there are different regional cooperatives that is in energy field that is worth considering. And then, as you rightly said, Baha and also Umut underlined, how to organize the business model of these energy communities or energy cooperatives, I think is going to be key. Any other question or comment about this topic, interesting topic?
Yes, hi, I'm Nora from San Sebastian. Sorry, I was connected a bit late due to another commitment I had today. At first time I could not move. So yes, following to what you were mentioning about these cooperatives in energy is something that it's very interesting to us, to Fomento San Sebastian. And well, we are in touch with Goyener, this cooperative in San Sebastian. Well, it's a more type of private initiative, but they are members of our local smart clusters. They are members there. And well, right now we are doing a participatory process in the neighborhood of Chomin, the district where Replicate was making the implementations. And in this process, we are also looking for this type of cooperatives or this type of involvement and empowerment of citizens. So, well, Goyener was also taking part in some of the workshops we were doing there, and well, we'll have another workshop by the end of this month to try to construct the future initiatives of this district with the citizens that they are living there, and also with local companies that can also give some ideas or be involved somehow. So and we also know about this initiative in Catalonia, and it was very interesting as well. So yeah, happy to see that there are this type of initiatives around different countries and cities in Europe. And well, this means that this path is interesting and to follow up, with. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Nora, for contextualizing. Really glad to hear that Fomento San Sebastian, the case of San Sebastian, is already working directly with Goyener. And I think that for the replication plans, I must say, as a work package leader, that in 2016, when we conducted a survey, we have already included the importance of the urban cooperatives. And not surprisingly, Essen and Nilüfer, they were very, very anticipating this discussion at the moment. So, and I think it's worth mentioning that maybe even we change the concept of the energy cooperatives to energy communities, we still need to explore much more about business models beyond the public-private partnership, as we are seeing, and also happily from the case of San Sebastian. So any other comment? I think this conversation could be endless, so but maybe there is any other question or comment from the audience?
Igor, if I can, I would like to ask Umut a question on the social innovation of engaging the citizens for project, let's say, ideas. They have a process that they have started maybe not so long ago. But my question is whether they are thinking of assessing the performance of this system in any way. Not only the number of applications and project ideas, but also the quality and the outcome and things like that.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you.
So actually, I was about to make a comment about this question, but Ba really made a good question at the moment. So that will be the answer. So, well, we're talking about energy cooperatives and energy communities. So that's a that needs a big infrastructure actually, and also that was one of our ideas to create some sustainable systems, sustainable works on both energy or smart cities or any other, and also some other social issues. That is how we started our social entrepreneurship center. That is how the idea came actually. So with supporting these social enterprises, with supporting these people, these citizens with creative ideas, we can build this infrastructure, we can build this system, we can create new financial models, and we can create new SMEs to make it sustainable. And for now, we are very, very in the beginning of this process, and at the moment we just signed the agreement and we have a place and we are just starting. So we know there is a need, and there are people with innovative ideas, with social enterprise ideas, but at the moment we didn't have any study to foresee how many ideas will come and how many ideas we will support. But our stakeholders are really strong. So we will have chance to bring these people with angel investors and bring these people with different funding models. And we are also trying to create new financial models to how to build this system, build this infrastructure in our city. So we are hopeful, but we need some more time to see the real potential. We need some more time to make statistics about the issue.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Question? Okay, let's, before moving on the third slot, I would like to comment something that is going to be part of the replication plans. And as we didn't discuss about this, I think it's worth saying right now, and is regardless of how we are going to call this kind of new business models that is going to engage citizens, civic society beyond the public-private partnership, I would like to point out the importance of data in these business models. So I'm going to leave the point there, but I think that it's not just about how you engage citizens, but also is how the data of citizens is going to be crucial to establish these business models. I'm going to leave the comment there because I think that by the end of the replication plans, we are going to have much more evidence about this fact. Anyway, let's go to the third slot. Is Emin Directi, sorry, in there?
No, he couldn't.
So, okay, so the third slot is going to be of the industrial spin-off ecologies, and it's going to be presented by Ezra. Please, Ezra. Ezra Demir.
Yes. I would like to start by saying sorry for this inconvenience. He had a medical emergency, so he couldn't come to the presentation. So I'm going to try to make it as meaningful as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
As Igor mentioned before, Bursa is in a very strategic location in Turkey, close to the main markets of the city, of the country. So the industry is quite developed in Nilüfer, with a lot of multinational companies, small companies as well. In a transformation process of a city, the industry will be very crucial to enable the city to make a smoother transformation, let's say, to a lower carbon city. So TechnoSub is one of the projects which has been designed as an organized industrial zone. It is expected to empower the technology development companies for sustainability, especially SMEs. There are already 12 industry zones within the border of Nilüfer. With this site, will be powered by renewable energy. It would be a good showcase for other similar industry zones. There is going to be wind, solar energy, heat pumps used, and nearly 50% of the energy need would be local energy resources. So, as we said, it would be a good showcase. Some of the industry that is located within the city and that causes a lot of traffic and pollution will be moved out, a little bit out of the city, which would also have a positive impact of the decarbonization of the city and as well as the pollution. This is one of the projects, and it has the project has started recently. The second one is the pilot factory. This is a concept actually that has been recent. It can be defined as a tool that enables the scalability of the principles of operational excellence in enterprises using experimental learning techniques. Let's say it would be a competence center for common use of the industry and companies. The difference of pilot factory is that it enables to combine theory and practice by using experimental learning techniques, and competence would be gained permanently by the SMEs especially. It is being built with financial resources from United Nations Development Program, Bursa Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The factory will enable SMEs to transform themselves to a more effective and efficient production. It will help them to transform their conservative way of doing business, and the industry have most of the costs of production is energy. So transforming their energy especially would have a big impact on the city of Nilüfer in terms of environment, in terms of pollution. This is going to be the second model plant in Turkey. First one was built in Ankara. As I have mentioned before, the aim would be to increase the efficiency of companies with the lean management strategy. And another aim is to make these businesses more efficient and move to Industry 4.0, to a digital production line especially. The training phase of the trainers has been completed in 8 of the pilot companies within the city. It will be a chance to spread it out through industrial companies mainly located in Nilüfer. And this is it. Since it is not my area, I cannot make it more comprehensive. And
okay.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Elsa. I think that it would be important to ask about the contribution of the industry, the 4.0 perspective, to establish this spin-off network of SMEs. I don't know if you can give us some details about the sectors in which these spin-offs are working. Maybe Baha, you can contribute on that as well.
Igor, let me comment on this this topic. Unfortunately, Emin couldn't make it. He's been a part of the industrial scene in Bursa for a very long time. I think it may be a little noisy here, but I will keep on continuing. Now, in Bursa, we have basically a hub, industrial hub, composed of automotive, textile, and machine tool industries, as well as other peripheral ICT. Now, these have, of course, large factories, and around them they have clusters of OEMs, that is original equipment manufacturers, and also clusters of SMEs that work for them in the materials, mechatronics, for example, in the ICT sectors, and also a lot of peripheral services. So you have logistics, for example, very strongly. But apart from that, you have to remember that this is a strong tourism area also. So you have tourism peripherals also in terms of services. So the idea is that we have actually a very interesting setup for industry clusters, the SMEs that serve them, and also, let's say, economic decline pushes these companies to actually diversifying activity into smart city areas. And now most of the technological areas actually overlap. So it is interesting for Nilüfer to combine smart city requirements, some of their services that they need to connect with the citizens, to serve the citizens better, and let's say automatize the many services that they're doing, and actually use these spin-offs from the big clusters, let's say. If you will remember, in the meetings and workshops in Nilüfer, we always have these spin-off companies from either textile or automotive that are trying to, they're looking for openings actually in smart cities. So let's say that the demand is there, the supply is there, but we need to match them. Now these the two slides that has been shown are actually pools trying to bring together this talent. But there may be strategic approaches bringing together, let's say, depending on teams and more sub-teams, which would be more effective. This needs to be a little bit worked out with the municipality, but I believe that there's a lot of opportunities for smart city, let's say, SMEs to be active with Nilüfer here. But we need more work on this area.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for the clarification and for the complementary information. I think that we can see, as you said, the importance of the smart city requirements and how these requirements could become an opportunity for organizing these industries from the 4.0 cluster perspective. So yeah, I think it's quite promising what you said. Any question on the audience? Okay, so I think that we have just come to the end of the session of Nilüfer and also the end of the City to City Learning Program. Let's wrap up the 3 slots in a nutshell. First, we have started with the grassroots empowerment through the neighborhood committees, mainly how the representative democracy could be benefited from these neighborhood communities. I think it's very linked actually to the internal and to the let's say regional politics in the area. I think that it was a question from San Sebastian, because I think that in San Sebastian reality is quite different in this sense. So it's very structurally rooted in the way that the politics is understood in Nilüfer. And the second slot, among many other topics about the bottom-up energy efficiency programs, of the social entrepreneurship center that is acting as, let's say, as a transformative agent and entity in the area. It was focused on the initiative of the energy cooperatives that established in 2016. Then we have a good discussion about how other cities like Essen, just visited recently by some members from Nilüfer, is developing an energy community. So it's an open discussion about how these kind of ICT, energy and mobility sectors can have another business models beyond the public-private partnership. And last and not least, we discussed about the industrial spin-off ecologies and how some traditional, let's say, sectors could be renowned, could be renewed for another purposes. I think in order to finish the Nilüfer case, I think that we need to keep an eye too about two data that I provided at the early beginning of the session, and this in the last 5 years, the demographic boom has been at 35%. I mean, the population has increased at 35%, and alongside this data, this fact, we also said and we summarized that the 80% of the jobs are around the Nilüfer in the whole Bursa metropolitan area. So we can see how is a strategic importance the location, and also the strategy that Nilüfer could just establish for the rest of the metropolitan area, and such. So thank you very much for all of you attending today. Please share your comments through #ReplicateEU and also City to City Learning program. Stay tuned through replicate project.eu/City to City Learning